Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me for question number 3 of this little mini 10-part series I'm doing. Basically, talking about the 10 most common things you should not talk about in a family gathering or amongst friends, or especially not at work. So, this question would be religion. Why should you not talk about religion amongst family and friends and coworkers? This kind of strikes home with me because over the last year, I've been really researching, studying a lot about religion, traveling all over the world. I was in Israel about a week before the war started, actually in Jerusalem. And one thing I've noticed is that if you approach somebody with different religious beliefs and you just speak to them from the heart and ask them, what their beliefs are based off of, and why they choose to believe that way, and listen to what they're saying instead of judge them off your own insecurities, you actually have a really peaceful interaction. When I was in Israel, I spoke with some Orthodox Jews. One of them happened to be at a bus station, and he was handing out flyers, trying to get, if you will, people to contemplate, becoming Jewish. And here I was, tatted, wearing shorts, obviously very American, and he came up to me and he had a flyer and he went to hand it to me, and I just looked at him, and I actually grabbed the flyer and I said, I appreciate very much what you're doing, and I appreciate your respects. Just, please appreciate mine. And I told him what I was doing, that I was traveling the world, that I was respecting all religions and just trying to give love to the people that needed it the most. And he did not push back one bit. He was very pleased at what I was saying. We actually hugged, and I met several Jewish people that way. Now, I also, at the same time, and even here recently at the U.S. Embassy, I have had interaction with Islamic people. And matter of fact, the last one at the U.S. Embassy was a man who studies Islam, and he had very, very strong accent. And the reason why I interacted with him was because I was wanting to get basically this, because having a tattooed head tends to intimidate people. It tends to give the wrong vibe, not to mention the fact that I don't want to get my head sunburned. But I knew that this would be a good thing to cover my head with because it was thin, it's not going to overheat my head, and so on. And when I interacted with him, I shared to him what I was wanting to do and why, and if I want his opinion on whether or not it would offend anybody. He looked at me and he said, "Hey, brother," he goes, "the fact is, it's just clothing." He said, "If you want to wear one, and if anybody gets offended, they have a big problem, because there's no reason why they should ever be offended." And you stop and you think about it. Now, if I'm walking along wearing this, the average person's gonna, and if I'm not, sporting tattoos and so on, they're going to assume that I'm Islam. And they're going to judge me. Or they might assume that I'm Jewish. Or, but you stop and think about Catholic, Mennonites, Jehovah Witnesses. I've seen Islam, I've seen Judaism wearing something similar to this. But yet we all tend to draw judgment, and rightfully so. Now, I challenge you to ask yourself, why would you not want to ask other people their opinion? This is not saying worship their God. This is not saying worship their religion. It's simply saying, educate yourself. It doesn't go against anything you know in your heart. Because in order for you to love everybody, you need to be able to understand. And I would hope that, especially within family, if you have disagreeing views, you can still talk about it, because you're supposed to love each other and you're supposed to support each other without getting angry. Now, let's jump over to what the illusion would call reality. Granted, you bring up religion and you're definitely going to create tension within the room. People are going to get very angry. People are going to show you the worst side of them. Especially if, when somebody disagrees with you and you look at them and say, "Thou shalt not judge." 9 times out of 10, they're going to leave the room. Now, why is that? Everybody knows that none of us have the right to judge anybody else, because none of us have lived the same illusion. None of us have been programmed the same way anyone else has. We all have our own perception that nobody else in the world, has the exact same perception of. So, I ask you, if you get an opportunity and you find somebody that obviously has religious beliefs that you don't have the same view or same perception of, be kind and just ask them. Because now that I have, over the last year, I have talked to many people, close to 50,000 now, of all different religions. And one thing that's a reoccurring theme, when it comes to Judaism, when it comes to Islam, when it comes to Christian, majority of everybody agrees it's the exact same story. So you have to ask yourself, why do we judge other people? Why do we feel that our beliefs are superior over theirs? And if you truly love yourself, why would you get upset if somebody has a different view than you do? Think about it. You come into this world by yourself. You go out of this world by yourself, from the illusional perspective. And everybody should be working on their eternal existence, if you will. So why do any of us have the right to judge? Any of us have the right to get upset? And why wouldn't all of us want to know other people's perspective? That way we can understand and learn how to love them. Now, I am not saying every religion is right. I know that there's a ton of truths in all religions. I also know that there's a lot of non-truths within all religions. But if you love yourself, if you are not insecure, and if you choose to be conscious and see reality on reality's terms, you're not going to look at the negative within their religion, and you're going to be able to see the positive. And the positive that I see within all of them, they love deep, and it's not my right to judge. I love you guys. Talk to you later.